Welcome everybody to the finale here in Brazil for PSF2. It's going to be a cracker. Sorry about the delay in the stream. I'm your commentator this evening and I'm joined by your full-time commentator as well of Ghost. Ghost, how are we?
Hello, yes, apologies for the delay. It wouldn't let me broadcast, so now there's 4 upcoming PSF2 streams on YouTube. I promise this is the real one. Those other 4 are not going to be upcoming. But no, it's good to be here, and we are here for the finale. We have 2 drivers gunning for the driver's title. We have 2 teams gunning for the constructor's title. And it's going to be a fantastic day of racing, I'm sure. We've started off with Kevin Zunneberg getting the best lap off in these first runs with a 106.677, and then Ivan Eskrig, the championship challenger, who, well, we'll run you through what he needs to do in a bit, in, well, what was P2 on the front row, but IRTC has just gone to a shock pole position. That is quite the lap from the Williams driver, but it's Ivan and Max van der Geest who are the 2 drivers to watch. Max finds himself in the lead of the championship by a decent distance, so Ivan is going to need some luck if he wants this title, but I mean, if there's any track where anything can happen, it's here in Interlagos, isn't it, Nathan?
Oh, it absolutely is, and it's such an incredible circuit to race around. It's going to be super competitive. It's going to be close, especially with the times. And it's so iconic as well. There's been so many memorable moments over the years here, and one that obviously stands out is the Lewis Hamilton overtake on Timo Glock to win the championship and take it out of the hands of Felipe Massa. Will we see a similar scenario here this evening between the Spaniard of Ivan Eskrig and the Dutchman of Max van der Geest? These 2 coming into this separated by only a couple of points, so it should be very exciting towards the end of this race.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, IRTC at the moment looking like he's going to be a bit of a spoiler at the front, as well as Kevin Zunneberg, who is back on the grid after a few weeks out, and is looking to secure the constructor's title for Mercedes, because Aston Martin have had one hand on it for the longest time this season, but with both Mercedes here and only one Aston Martin, as it has been for the last few weeks, they've got a real shot at this. Only 6 points behind going into this round, so all they need to do is have a decent double result, and they may well be able to snatch it from the Aston Martin pair, but I'm sure Nico will do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. As for the drivers, like we said, it's Max van der Geest who leads by 8 points from Ivan Eskrig. No one else is in range. Lars Kramer is in third on 50 points compared to Max's 79, so he is nowhere near the top. It's all about those 2, and Ivan essentially, well, he needs a podium to start with, unless Max crashes out or finishes out the points somehow, in which case Ivan would only need P4 plus pole position. But realistically, he needs to finish on the podium. And how hard is it, Nathan, when you're under pressure like that? You know you need a podium, and everyone else around you doesn't really have as much to lose as you. How hard is it to sort of make those positions up and do what needs to be done?
I think, especially for drivers like these, when they've put so much into the season and they get to the final race and all a driver needs is to be inside the top 3, to be crowned the world champion of the biggest league, the biggest esports league in the world, and to be crowned champion, I think the pressure will get to him, and I think he'll make decisions that he wouldn't usually make in previous races, in terms of backing out of certain battles and not taking the risks that he would usually take. So I'm just hoping he stays in that sort of zone that he's been in for the previous rounds, because that's what's got him where he has. Sorry, SEI Jensen was just on a lap there and he's just spun it coming around turn 6 and 7. But yes, I think Max just needs to stay focused. I don't think he needs to change anything, but he does obviously need to stay out of trouble. Some of these drivers coming to the line now, but I think Ivan Eskrig knows what he needs to do as well. And if he can get up that board, keep Max van der Geest behind, and maybe even near the end of the Grand Prix, try to back the Mercedes into a bit of a battle. Oh, Max van der Geest, Ghost.
Oh, talking of Max, he has just gone to provisional pole by 18 thousandths of a second from IRTC, and that extra pole position point could be so important. Lars Kramer goes to 4th as he goes across the line. IRTC on an outlap right now, so we'll keep an eye on him. Ivan Eskrig has invalidated, so he's going to have to try again. But yeah, it's that pole position point when we're in the championship finale. There's no fastest lap point, of course, anymore, but you do get that extra point for pole, and that could be oh so important as Kevin Zunneberg now goes within 4 thousandths of a second of our pole sitter. So Max van der Geest hanging on by a thread at the moment, but the times are always so close around this circuit, and a 10th can feel like a world away here in Interlagos sometimes. All Max needs to do today, especially if he gets pole, that makes things even easier for him, but all he needs to do is finish on the podium to guarantee the title outright. There's nothing Ivan can do. However, if Max finishes 5th or below, then, or from 5th to 6th place, then Ivan would need to win the race. From 7th, or then Ivan would need 2nd plus pole, 8th and 9th plus pole, then Ivan would need 2nd without pole, and it similarly goes down like that. So I think realistically, Nathan, Ivan needs to win this race,
Yeah.
and hope that Max doesn't get pole.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Ivan needs to win. There's no other way around this. Unless Max crashes out or has a really bad race, then yes, Ivan needs to win this Grand Prix. I just want to say, though, if Kevin Zunneberg might get involved in this scrap and maybe help his teammate out, I mean, his pace has been phenomenal in the back end of this season, so it'll be interesting to see what he does and if he decides to help out his teammate, if they do lock out the front row.
Absolutely, it's so important for Max that he has a teammate alongside him to help out, because Ivan Eskrig, I mean, the only thing worse than fighting one car for a title is fighting two. So especially when they're working together, and Kevin Zunneberg, I'm sure, he's not really got anything to lose. I think the only thing that the Mercedes duo have got to think about here is it's not just about the drivers. They could also wrap up the constructors today if they have a good enough race and Nico finishes low enough down. We'll sort of update you on that as the race goes on, see where the points are lying. But they can't sacrifice Kevin too much unless they're comfortable with losing the constructors when they could win it. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a game of chicken here for the two of them, but I'm sure Kevin will do what he can to prevent Ivan Eskrig from making too much progress up the grid, because right now they are in the perfect position.
Yeah, they are. You're absolutely right. And it'd be interesting to see if Richard Vicker gets involved in any of these scraps. He's been at the back. This is the second race in a row that he's going to have started from dead last, actually. So it'd be interesting. He had a brilliant race last weekend to come through the grid and things like that. And he's definitely got the pace to compete at the top. So it'd be interesting to see if he helps out Ivan Eskrig. But the Mercedes just look absolutely next level. They did last week. They do this week. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be very hard to take off that top spot. 4/1000 separate the pair of them.
Yeah, absolutely. IRTC right there as well. Just 4 minutes left in this session. It's going to be very close. All throughout the grid. SCI Jensen about to start a lap as well in the VCUB, unless he might be heading into the pits as well. No, he is going for it. So the VCUB driver will be getting something, or giving us something to watch in these next couple of minutes as everyone else waits in the pits for the right time to come out on circuit. Jensen has been a bit of a lower points position straggler this season. He's been scrapping for every point that he can all season long. And he's been mostly successful in doing so, with a couple of very good results sprinkled in as well. He's been good at picking up the pieces when things have gone wrong for other drivers, but he's struggling on this circuit, and that is wide, unfortunately for him, at turn 7, and that is going to invalidate that lap. So 3 minutes to go. He's not got a lot of time to go again, and he finds himself a long way down in qualifying, as he has done all season. But it's all about keeping in the DRS train, keeping the race pace, and making sure he doesn't make any silly mistakes for Jensen. And, well, he'll hope to finish off this season on a high, in a season that's been largely a difficult one for him.
Yeah, it's been tough for him. I think he's actually... I've seen something on X regarding Jensen at the end of the season, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. He will be starting at the back with Richard Vicker. SCI Jensen, he's been one of them drivers this season. He's just not had the consistency, but he's been super reliable in getting them points, and if he could just string a few decent races together, he would be back on top form as he's shown in the past. So Brian Amers is on a lap in the Williams. He's just coming around turn 5 up towards turn 6. No, he's not on a lap. I do apologise. Sapala and Jordan DHL is on a lap as he comes in towards the centre S's through turn 1 and 2. The Papaya McLaren around turn 3 at Curva de Sol and down Retta Aposta. That DRS will kick in. That rear wing will open as we head in towards turn 4 at the left-hander. A little bit of a slip and a slide from the McLaren driver. We do have just under 2 minutes remaining. All eyes are on Max van der Geest and Ivan Eskrig, but it will be Jordan DHL, the first driver to the line for their final runs. He takes a huge chunk of that, and he just cannot get his foot down on them tyres. They are slipping everywhere. Kevin Zunneberg is also on a lap. He's just coming down towards Jun Chow at turn 12, Ghost.
Yeah, he's over half a tenth up as well. He could be taking pole position away from his teammate here, which would be a bit of a blow to Max, but especially since the championship leader is just coming out the pit lane. 106.521 is the time to beat from Kevin Zunneberg. Can Max van der Geest match that? Can anyone match that? IRTC coming through. Max is going to be quite a little bit tight for time, actually, but he should be fine to get across the line to start one more run.
Ivan Eskrig.
Though, here he comes, Ivan Eskrig to the line. It's only P3.
Wow.
It's not enough. He improves by 1.5 tenths, but he's 16 thousandths of a second away from his championship rival. Spyros goes to P5. Lovely to see him back on track, by the way. We've got plenty of others as well. TRT Zane will be next across the line, but he's not improving. He's going to go for, well, he's gone for a second outlap, so he's just starting his final run now. We've got Max on an outlap just behind, and then it's the Williams of Brian Amers. What can he manage across the line? It's a 10th improvement, but he stays in 14th. And the final runs coming through. IRT Phil in the Haas. No, sorry, that's Viaduct. No front wing into the pit lane. As we see Kevin Zunneberg also, not into the pit lane. He's going to go for one more attempt.
Oh, he
as well.
can't.
So, no, he just about doesn't make it, though. Look at that. The checkered flag is out, and he misses out by probably half a second to get across the line, Nathan.
Yep, IRTC in the Williams will be next. He's slightly down on his lap time, stays P4. Jordan DHL in the McLaren goes up to P13, and then we have a couple more drivers coming through. Spyros in the Racing Bull is also not up on his lap time. IRT Phil is, though, 3 attempts up to the line, goes P3 and in front of Ivan Eskrig. Max is improving. Can he take pole position away from his teammate? Here comes the championship leader here in the race finale at the end of qualifying, down towards the line here in Sao Paulo. Max van der Geest stays P2.
Wow, 600ths of a second improvement, but it's not enough to beat Kevin Zunneberg, and that is a crucial point taken away from Max van der Geest, but it is still a Mercedes 1-2 to start off this final round. Nico down in P8 for Aston Martin, so not good news for the constructors for the British outfit either, and the Mercedes duo are in prime position here to take both championships away. Kevin Zonnebjerg takes pole position from Max van der Geest, and then it's Phil and Ivan Eskrig down in fourth, but he will be right behind his championship rival going into turn one, so he might see some fireworks potentially. IRTC and Spyros make up row 3 with Lars Kramer and Nico in row number 4. Then it is Zane Zviadek, Jordan, Sam Sipala, Brian Amers and Jensen, with Richard Vicker starting from the back. Who knows what impact he could have on this race. And well, we're going to get going relatively shortly for this exhilarating final round. And hello to everyone in chat as well, by the way. Again, apologies for the delay in the stream. I was having some tech issues, and Nathan was excellent to resolve them, so thank you for that, Nathan.
No problem.
But Indigo in the chat, the fastest lap point doesn't count. There is no fastest lap point in PSGL this season, just for pole position. So you only have to worry about that, and Kevin Zonnebjerg has taken it. So in terms of the championship permutations now, that makes things a little bit simpler. But Ivan Eskrig still really realistically has to win this race. And he needs Max van der Geest to finish off of the podium. So those are really the conditions for the Red Bull driver, and it's in Max's hands, you would have to think.
Yeah, and he's at the front row now with his teammate. This would have been the ideal starting scenario for him. He's going to be in P2 Max. He's got Ivan Eskrig, a car behind him, well, a car in between them and him. And then he's got his Mercedes teammate on the front row with him, so he's got that sort of safety net. And then also, I'm pretty sure P2 has the inside line, or is it the outside line going into turn 1? Regardless of that, you've got the two Mercedes locking out the front row, and then Ivan Eskrig in P4. And Ivan Eskrig needs to win this Grand Prix if Max van der Geest doesn't have an awful race. But that is where Ivan needs to be aiming for as soon as these lights go out.
Absolutely, yeah. And well, while we have this downtime waiting for the lights to turn on, make sure you check out PSGL's sponsor for the season, Sim Racing Setups. They do some great setups for the F1 games and more, and you can get 5% off your next purchase with the code PSGL at checkout, so do make sure to check them out. Nathan, we've got just a minute to go until we get started for this final round. It's been a great season. We've got two fantastic drivers fighting for this title, and who knows, the constructors could well be hanging in the balance as well if this front row lockout for Mercedes turns into a result quite a bit less than that. But you never know. You never know what can happen at Interlagos.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Ghost. It's been a great season by a lot of these drivers. Aston Martin dominated in the first half, and then Mercedes have come back in the second half. There was just like a switch for the Mercedes team, and they've just performance after performance, track after track. They have been phenomenal in the back end of this season, and I cannot wait to see what happens at that checkered flag at the end of this Grand Prix. Will there be communications between the pair? Will they know what they're going to win? Will they know if they're going to be crowned champions? That is all to be decided, but I'm sure in the back of their minds that will be playing throughout every single lap that they progress.
Absolutely. Max just needs to finish in the top 4 and he is champion regardless of what Ivan does. But here we go, we're about to find out. 3, 4, 5, red lights! And we're underway for the season finale. It's a great start from pole for Kevin Zonnebjerg. Max van der Geest gets a poor getaway. And then we've got IRT Phil on the outside. Ivan Eskrig has to pull to the inside and drop out of it eventually. IRT Phil challenging the championship leader through turn 3, but he backs out in the end. And it's the top 4 still in order with Nico now up to P5. Good start for him. Sieb down to P6. Disastrous start for the Williams driver. Lars Kramer there as well as Zane and Spyros go side by side through turn 4. sure. It's the Ferrari driver on the outside up the hill that's going to turn into the inside for turn number 7, and he gets the move done by the looks of it. Spyros is going to try and hold it, but Zane is past. And that is single file for everyone else just behind. QRT Sam and Sipala doing some battles as well. The Alpine trying to get in the wing mirrors of both McLarens, losing out there to Jordan with a bit of contact. It's 3 wide through turn number 10. They've just about managed to get away with it. Still nearly 3 wide through 11. Incredible stuff for P11 here. But Sipala has gotten both McLarens. Lovely stuff from the Alpine driver. And, well, a relatively calm start overall, but some great battles in there on lap 1.
There was, and wow, it was tasty between the two Mercedes. They nearly had a coming together down in towards turn 1, but they did manage to get away with it. IRT Phil went for the attack, didn't pull it off, but he will try again now. So Kevin Zunneberg leads to Max van der Geest. You've got IRT Phil behind Ivan Esquig watching this unfold in front, knowing that he needs a miracle. SCI Jensen all over the rear diffuser of QRT. Sammy goes a little bit deep in towards turn 4. Can he get the overtake? He gets a good exit, but no, it is so difficult to overtake here at Interlagos, and it's such a great DRS train when you're involved in it, and you can stay with the driver even when you're fuel saving, even when you're ERS saving. It is phenomenal, but you have to time them overtakes correctly. So Ivan Esquig still chasing down the front 3 as IRT Phil just slips around turn 12 at Junchao. Will Ivan Esquig get the better exit into the slipstream of the Haas driver? Can he move up into the podium places? The straight line speed of that Haas is saving him away from the Red Bull, and he does stay in front for now.
Oh, I was just thinking whether Ivan would go for a send into turn 1 there. He decided against it, used a lot of ERS to try and go for that move, but like you said, Nathan, the straight line speed of that has too much for him to bear with. And now Kevin Zunneberg and Max van der Geest just keeping calm for now. They're not swapping yet, not close enough at the moment, but as we know, Max van der Geest tends to be at his very best towards the end of a stint when the tyres are starting to wear down. So we'll keep an eye on him as the race progresses, but for now the top 2 relatively calm as IRT Phil starting on those soft tyres. He's already starting to drop off from the Mercedes, and it's crucial that Ivan makes this move soon. Going through turn 10, he's not quite close enough. There's going to be no DRS for the Haas driver as it stands down towards turn 1, and this is the opportunity Ivan needs. A huge slide from the Haas as well. Ivan on the outside, but look how much time he's lost to the 2 Mercedes. 1.8 seconds as they head down towards the first corner, and IRT Phil really a bottleneck here. It's nearly 4 wide into turn 1. Ivan Esquig under pressure from Nico as well, and that is 4 positions lost for IRT Phil in one straight.
Oh my
Absolutely
God.
disastrous for him. Those soft tyres have not worked out at all. He will be stopping soon, I expect, to get a lovely undercut on everyone else, but at what cost, Nathan?
That was absolutely incredible. The helicopter cam that caught that as you were commentating on it was spectacular. The way that the Haas just dropped off and all 4 drivers got the overtake. But the big move here is Ivan Esquig is up to P3, but Max van der Geest doing what he needs to do here. After 4 laps here in Brazil, he is the race leader with his teammate behind him ready to defend. And then Ivan Esquig, the championship contender in P3. You've got Nico, Laz, Kramer, Sieb, Phil, Zane, Zawadek and Spyros in the top 10. Everything is still on the line here.
Yeah, and Max did take the lead while all of that commotion was going on as well, and he has pulled out a decent gap to his teammate as well. He's already starting to stretch his legs as the championship leader, and Ivan's under pressure from Nico, who backs out. I thought he was going for that. The closing speed was pretty crazy on that Aston Martin, but he decided not to send it.
Oh, Sipala and Spyros. Sorry about that, Ghost. Yeah.
Sorry, Nathan. Sipala.
Yeah, Sapala went for the move. That is Nico on Ivan Eskrig down towards turn 4. And the Aston Martin is through on the championship contender. And the evening is going from bad to worse now for Ivan Eskrig as that championship is dwindling away in front of his eyes. Sapala on Phil. He's just gone for Jordan. Now he goes for the Alpine. So he goes for the Haas. And Sapala is now up to P9. Yeah, sorry, as I was saying there, Ghost, as they went in towards turn 2, there was a collision between the two drivers. Sapala had to hold on to that car to manage to keep it on track.
Oh, well, it was a good job that he did, because we got another great move from him on IRT Phil, who is struggling hugely on these soft tyres already. He's dropping all the way to the back of the field. You've got to think he comes in pretty soon. I would imagine this lap, to be honest, but no, he stays out again. And, well, I'll tell you who'll be really annoyed at that Haas driver, Ivan Eskrig. He will be furious in that cockpit, because Phil acted as such a bottleneck for him that he dropped so much to the two Mercedes, and now 1.7 seconds is the gap, and he's having to stay behind Nico as well into turn 4, which is going to lose them even more time, and it creeps up now to 2 seconds, that gap. And, well, Max van der Geest and Kevin Zunneberg very comfortable at the moment, although I am noticing Kevin doesn't seem to be as comfortable in the middle sector as the other drivers. He tends to lose time to both his teammate and the car behind through this part of the circuit at the moment. So that could be the opportunity that Nico and Ivan will be looking for. If they could just get within DRS one of these laps, then they might be able to draw back into the train. But it seems Kevin has had a good lap this time, and the gap remains at about 2 seconds, and it's going to grow even more now on this lap. The Mercedes in a perfect position. I mean, you couldn't have dreamed a better position for them, as Ivan Eskrig dives into the pit lane for a 2-stop.
Yeah, I was just thinking there, goes Ivan Esquer's got nothing to lose. He's going to have to go for something. IRT Phil has to go into the pit lane as well, as he does. Them soft compound tyres are falling off like crazy. But yeah, I was just thinking in my head, Ivan's got to throw something into this. He's got to put a spanner in the works. And that's what he's done, because if he gets in front of Max, he has some sort of chance to do something. He might not be able to do anything, but he needs to at least try. And this might just bring him out in front of the Mercedes.
Yeah, it might well do, and I have to imagine it's got to be a 2-stop from here, but you never know. He might be able to take them all the way. I think it will be faster to do a 2-stop now that he's committed, though. So the Mercedes have a bit of a choice to make here. Obviously, they can't both pit on the same lap. But I think they'll stay out. I think they'll probably stick to what they had planned originally. There's no reason to change, really, because Max right now is in the perfect position. Even if Ivan wins this race from this bold strategy, then Max will still win the championship if he just finishes in the top 4. So he's very comfortable right now, as we have seen Nico, Zane and Viadak all come in, along with the other Red Bull of Richard Vicker and QRT Sam. So a lot of pit stops going on, and we're about to find out whether Ivan Eskrig has had a good outlap and whether he'll come out ahead of any of them. Nico's just exiting the pits now as Ivan heads towards turn 1. He gets the car stopped nicely on the apex. The Aston Martin's coming out the pit lane. I think Ivan's got himself ahead. And he has indeed. On the left-hand side of your screen, there is the Aston Martin behind him. So Ivan up to P10 after all those pit stops and ahead of the Aston, and only by 7/10, so he hasn't dropped DRS, but I think he'll be willing to work with Nico rather than get rid of him at this stage of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, if the Mercedes do try for the 1-stop and it fails, if they end up having to do a 2-stop anyway, or they go really late on the 1-stop, and then the tyres start to fall off. Yeah, Kevin Zunneberg is in, so the Mercedes of Kevin Zunneberg comes into the pit lane. I've got a feeling that the early 2-stoppers, because if you commit into a 2-stopper anyway, you may as well go early. Spyros picks up a 10-second time penalty. So Ivan Eskrig is going to be in a good position here, I think. And Max van der Geest is going to have to think about what the Red Bull is doing. He sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix now, Ghost.
Yeah, where's Kevin Zunneberg is the big question. He's coming out the pits. He's in about the same position as Nico was on the previous lap. So Ivan and Nico have both jumped the Mercedes of Kevin Zunneberg due to pitting a couple laps earlier. So a huge break for Ivan Eskrig there. And he is now, I believe, in the net lead of this Grand Prix. Max van der Geest, I wonder what he's going to do now. Does he commit to the one stop? Does he cut his losses here and come in and come out just behind his teammate, hopefully for his sake? Because remember, all he needs to do is finish in the top 4, but if he gets the strategy wrong here, the grid is so close that it could end up losing him that top 4 place and losing him the title. He has bailed, he's into the pit lane, so I don't think the hards will go to the end from here, but they may well do. But the question is it faster than just pitting again anyway? That's the question these guys have got to wrestle with now. Max in for the hard tyres. He will be behind Ivan Eskrig, but how many more positions will he lose? That's the question.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about. Here comes Ivan Eskrig. So Ivan Eskrig is going to come out in front of Max van der Geest. So the Red Bull is now going to be your provisional race leader. He has Nico behind him, Kevin Zunneberg. Where is Max van der Geest going to come out? He's going to come out behind his teammate. Here comes Nico, though, to try the move on the Red Bull. And Nico is throwing Ivan Eskrig. This is not what the Red Bull and the championship contender needs at this moment in this race. Kevin Zunneberg behind with Max van der Geest, his teammate, behind the Mercedes driver. This is what I was worried about. If they committed to that one stop and then realised that the tyres were not going to make it, because their mediums were on 52% when he pitted after just 10 laps. These hards aren't going to go to the end, so regardless of if he pitted now or 3 laps ago, he's still going to have to go for the 2 stopper, I suspect. So yeah, a real bad choice for Max for me.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Remember, he is the best driver on the grid at making the tyres work late into a stint.
Absolutely.
So we'll see if he can manage that today as well. Kevin Zunneberg, though, here he goes on the Red Bull driver. He's got better straight line speed than Ivan Eskrig. He's going to try and help out his teammate for the title. Down the inside goes Kevin Zunneberg. Ivan Eskrig leaves him the room. There's contact as they go through turns 2 and 3. Oh, they lock wheels as they go through turn 3. And Nico is pulling away. Here comes Kevin Zunneberg. More contact on the straight. Ivan down to P6 and 3rd in this train, and Max van der Geest is going to be looking to get him as well. It's a horrible couple of laps for Ivan Eskrig. It's not gone well for him at all, and well, it was a good strategy, I think. He's had nothing to lose. He had to come in early and try and get the jump on these Mercedes, but now I think maybe even the tyre difference starting to come in, maybe just a pace difference, who knows, but it certainly looks like he's got a higher downforce setup than the cars around him, and that is going to be a real problem for him in this race.
Yeah, I mean, Ivan's got a lot to think about here. Max van der Geest is on his tail. I don't think Ivan appreciated the move from Kevin or Nico either, but Nico is in a great position of his own. He's fighting for a Constructors' Championship, and his concern isn't the Red Bull at the moment. Here comes Max van der Geest. He pulls out. He went to go for the move, and the Red Bull goes a little bit late, and through the centre S's they go, and they do get very acquainted with each other once more. Here comes the Mercedes. Remember, he's got that straight line speed into the slipstream of the Red Bull. He's going to go around the outside of turn 4, and the championship leader against the championship contender, they do touch, but it is the Mercedes AMG that is through on the Red Bull.
Ivan had no ERS left, and Max knew it. He saw the flashing red light on the back of that Red Bull going into turn 1, and he knew he would have a chance into turn 4 if Ivan was already harvesting by that point, and that's exactly what he did. He just absolutely sent it through turn 3 and gave it all the overtake button he could, and Ivan just had nothing left to defend with, and that is fantastic racing from Max van der Geest. Brilliant racing IQ to get himself ahead with the superior ERS usage, and Ivan now in trouble again from Lars Kramer. This higher downforce setup, I think, on this Red Bull causing so many problems, and Lars Kramer's going to be the next to add to Ivan's woes. He goes down the inside into turn 1. There's contact again. Ivan's just getting shunted out the way by every driver at the moment, but can you blame them? They all smell blood in the water from the Red Bull driver, and Ivan Eskrig just has nothing to answer them to.
Wow, wow, wow. Ivan Eskrig, he went for the early stopper and it has not paid off at all. And everybody just seems to be attacking him. I'm sure he'll be feeling the same way. Max van der Geest doing exactly what he needs to do. Ivan forgot to load race setups. GG, says Ajo, man. I hope that's not the case for the race finale. So on to the front, we've got the two Williams that lead, but they have not pitted yet. They are committing to that one stopper, and then you've got Jordan DHL in P3, Nico the provisional race lead, and then you've got Kevin Zunneberg and Max van der Geest, the two Mercedes drivers, one of them bidding to win the World Championship. IRTC is into the pit lane. Here comes Kevin Zunneberg on Nico, and the Mercedes is through and up to P3, and that is how it's done. The Mercedes are showcasing their skills here this evening.
Yeah, Brian Amos and Jordan as well on the mediums just ahead, and that's going to give Kevin the DRS again down to turn one, even if these two pit now. Clearly the Williams and the McLaren going for a one-stop strategy. I think that's going to be ill-advised given the pace of the cars behind. Phil now with a track limits penalty, the first of the day, I believe. Probably won't be the last, but who knows? These drivers all on the limit at the moment. Nico just behind this Mercedes. Kevin's getting held up though by the McLaren of Jordan. He looks to the outside. He ducks and dives to the inside of turn number 10, and he gets the move done. Nico now stuck behind this papaya car. There's nothing he can do. He locks wheels, and Max van der Geest sees the opportunity and gets both of them into turn 12. An incredible overtake from the championship leader. And that is how you do it, Nathan.
That was phenomenal. Jordan's into the wall. He's lost his front wing and into the pit lane, and he slides it into the pits. Brian Amos is into the pit lane. Here comes Nico once again. Max van der Geest is now up to P2. This is absolutely outstanding from Max van der Geest. Can Nico and Lars Kramer attack? Here comes the Sauber driver up the inside of the Aston Martin down towards turn 4. And the Sauber is into the podiums. Ivan Eskrig watching all of the drama. He's a passenger at the moment.
There's nothing he can do. Max van der Geest is going to have the better tyres as well at this point than everyone else here, and this is just what he does every week. He just seems to have the edge when the tyres start to wear, and that's why he goes for the overcut, because he knows he's got that in his locker. He knows what his strength is on F125, and he strategizes himself around it, and it's masterfully done from Max. And you need to do the overtakes if you're going to go for an overcut strategy like that. You have to get the overtakes done, and goodness me, has he done that today. TRT Zane, now the latest driver to be pressuring Ivan Eskrig. They all know that Ivan has got so much to lose as Max van der Geest now takes the lead away from his teammate. And well, the way he's driving at the moment, you wouldn't bet against him pulling away at this stage in the Grand Prix. It's so difficult to do that on this game, but the way he's got the pace in Sector 2, he's got the better tyres as well. I would not be surprised if he could get that DRS distance to his teammate, but at the moment Kevin is staying with him, as are the cars behind, and the only solace now for Ivan Eskrig at this stage is that he is still in this DRS train, because he wasn't in the first stint. So that undercut has paid off to get him back in the train, but he finds himself down in P5 anyway.
Yeah, you called it. You called it, Ghost. You said, watch out for Max van der Geest. It doesn't matter about the overcut. It's what he does. He looks after his tyres. You called it. He delivered. It is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Max van der Geest is on a different level at the moment. He is just an absolute delight to watch on track. These overtakes are tremendous, and every single time he goes up the inside of another driver or around the outside, it's just a showcase. It's like watching his highlight reels. It is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's such a fierce competitor as well. We've seen it from him both on and off track. with some stewards reports as well against Ivan at points earlier this season, just to eke out every last point that he possibly can on this Red Bull driver. And well, you have to feel for Ivan because he's had such a good season up to this point, and but it's just he hasn't been able to live with Max van der Geest in the latter part of the season. The last few weeks, the Mercedes driver has just taken full advantage of every moment that he can. And right now he's doing it again. He's leading this Grand Prix. He's got his teammate right behind him. I mean, it's a dream scenario for Max van der Geest and the Mercedes duo to take the Constructors' title away from Aston as well today. But you never know. We're not even halfway through this race at this point. There's still plenty that can happen. We might get a safety car at the perfect time. We might see a mistake from the unflappable Max van der Geest. You just never know, especially at Interlagos. And well, Lars Kramer, he's got nothing to lose in this top five. As Sipala, he's just DNF'd in the pit lane, so no dramas there. But Lars Kramer really is the only driver in this top five with absolutely nothing to lose, Nathan. And could that have an effect later in this race where he's going for moves and the other drivers are just happy to let him go? He might be able to sense a win here if he can take advantage of that mentality.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Lars Kramer's got nothing to lose. He's going to be eyeing up these drivers in front, and these drivers will be feeling that pressure. They will know they can't make any mistakes. So yeah, he's in a good position to be in P3, and then Nico and Ivan Eskrig. It'll be interesting. It feels like we've been watching the whole race and we're only halfway through. It has had everything in the opening 18 laps, but it is the two Mercedes that is 1-2, Lars Kramer in P3, and then Nico and Ivan Eskrig. That is IRTC on Richard Vicker down the inside in towards the centre S's, and it is the Williams up to P9. If you are just joining us, Max van der Geest is the championship leader. He is 8 points in front of Ivan Eskrig going into this race, and Ivan Eskrig needs a race victory, but as you can see, it is Max van der Geest that sits on the top spot at the moment with that safety net, with his teammate behind him, SCI Jensen and Sapala both out in the pit lane. Is there going to be any more dramas in the remaining laps?
It's a shame about Sipala. He made some fantastic moves early in this race. Perhaps he had damage or something, who knows. But look at the gap now between third and fourth. This lap has been a disaster for Nico. He's lost nearly a second to the top three on this lap alone. And I don't know if that's tyre difference or if that's just pure pace difference on this occasion, but either way, it is a horrible situation for both Nico and Ivan Eskrig. Just watching that gap now get bigger and bigger at this stage. That's a big mistake as well from the Aston through turn number 2, and he's clearly struggling on these tyres. Ivan looking to pounce as a result, and does so down the inside well before even the braking zone for turn 4, and he is up to 4th place, a little wide on the exit. That'll have been a warning, no doubt, for track limits, but 3 seconds now is the gap to the top 3. Need I remind you, 2 laps ago, they were in DRS range. This is absolutely extraordinary, the gap that the top 3 have pulled already, and it's just no contest right now. Ivan Eskrig, Nathan, needs a miracle to win this title.
Yeah, he does. He needs something to happen. He needs the F1 gods to open up. But I'm not sure he's going to get it. Brazil is such a tough circuit to get a safety car on because of how open it is. There's going to need to be some huge collision for anything to happen. IRTC is on the back of Zwadek. He's going to go around the outside as the Haas driver peels off into the pit lane. And there goes Nico once again back on the Red Bull. And that is what we were worried about. Ivan Eskrig is going to get in that tit-for-tat battling with Nico once again. But 3.5 seconds is what separates the top 3 to the rest of the grid. So Ghost was absolutely right. The tyre choices, they do fall off so quickly here in Brazil, and even if you go for the undercut, it is just not enough when these caliber of drivers are on the track.
Absolutely, they're so consistent at these level. These drivers, it makes it so difficult to do anything different, really, from the norm, because it can sometimes work out if you're someone like IRT Sieb, who is a big fan of going for the alternate strategy on occasion, as we've seen plenty of times this season. But sometimes it just, or most of the time, it just doesn't work. You've got to just do what everyone else does, otherwise, well, you can see the result. 3.5 seconds down on the top three. And there goes TRT Zane and Ivan Eskrig and Nico, all three of them into the pits for an early stop. They're going for the undercut again. I mean, why not? They've got nothing at all to lose. But as we've seen already in this race, it's perhaps a dubious strategy, and I think they're going to struggle to make this work. We've got yellow flags. That is another retirement in the pit lane, this time from Spyros. That's a shame to see. But Nico, Ivan and Zane all coming out the pits. Ivan just behind the Aston Martin now. Richard Vicker, interestingly, getting involved. He's between the two. I saw Ivan hit the wall on pit exit. I wonder if he got some damage there. The front wing looks fine visually, but there might be some superficial damage that could cost him time. Who knows? But Richard Vicker ahead of Nico, crucially. And he'll, I'm sure, not be too much of an obstruction to his teammate at this stage.
Yeah, so it's good for Ivan that his teammate is in front of Nico, because he can potentially help him at this stage. I'm just wondering if the Mercedes do pit now. Yeah, Max van der Geest is in. He's not waiting as long as he did last time. He is just matching that strategy. He knows all he has to do is stay in front of Ivan. He's not going to let him get the undercut this time. He's on one lap fresher tyres. He should come out in front of the Red Bull, and he'll carry on his dominant display. So Brian Amos is through. Max van der Geest is on his way out the pit lane. Richard Vick, Nico, Ivan Eskrig, and then and it's a bit of a slide for Max van der Geest on his way out the pit lane, but he's so far ahead. He is clear. Max van der Geest is on his way to becoming the PSF2 World Champion here in PSGL.
He absolutely is, and well, you never know. There's still 14 laps to go in this race. We can still get a safety car. We can still get a mistake from someone, a crash somewhere to cause some drama. But as it is, if everything goes completely normally at the moment, then Max van der Geest is surely on his way to becoming the new champion, and Mercedes as well are on their way to snatching the constructors from the Aston Martins. Kevin Zunneberg into the pits, as is Lars Kramer, and he's really, I think, the only one who can challenge the Mercedes for the win today. He's on top form on race pace, is Lars Kramer today, even if his qualifying was lackluster. And well, I mean, he started this race all the way down in 7th, and he's here in the top 3 looking for a potential race win. They both exit the pit lane. Where are they going to be? Obviously behind Max, but are they in front of Swiatek? That's the big question. The Haas driver coming through turn 3. It's going to be close. I think Swiatek's going to split them here. Here comes Kevin Zunneberg down the straight. He has done. Lars Kramer, in fact, behind all 3 of those drivers as Nico down the inside of Richard Vicker, and he gets that done into P6. Lars Kramer getting past the Red Bull as well, and Ivan Eskrig just has to watch this all happen. Oh, Lars Kramer on the inside of turn 6. He tried it on Nico. He didn't get it. Ivan Eskrig now just dive bombs his teammate into turn 7, all the way around the outside of 8, and he gets that done as well. Lovely stuff from Ivan Eskrig. I don't think the 2 Red Bulls were working together there, but no. Ivan got it done regardless. He's up to P8, but he still needs an awful lot more to go his way. Max van der Geest, how has this happened, Nathan? Leads this race by 3 seconds in the net race lead. The 2 Williams ahead. Max is going to get them as well with the DRS, and he just looks absolutely unstoppable. The second half of this season, Nathan, Max van der Geest has been unbelievable and a step above the rest of the grid.
Yeah, he's turned it on, hasn't he? He's just turned it on. Here comes Lars Kramer on Nico again, in towards the slipstream. The Sauber driver on the Aston Martin. Will he go for the move? Remember, he's got nothing to lose. And up the inside, Nico leaves him the space. He gets his foot down again for the Sauber driver out of turn 5 up towards turn 6. But Nico does a great job of defending that. But yeah, Max van der Geest 3.6 seconds in front of his teammate. What a strategy, what a performance. 11 laps to go. And we said one of the talking points of Brazil is always that Lewis Hamilton and Timo Glock version of events. And that is exactly what Ivan Eskrig needs here. Max is going to dominate throughout this Grand Prix, and he needs a miracle at the end to be crowned world champion. But anything can happen. This is motorsport racing. We've seen it time and time again, and PSGL never under-delivers.
109.0 fastest lap for Max van der Geest as well on fresh hard tyres. He is absolutely flying. That fastest lap is, well, 3/10 quicker than his teammate's fastest lap, who's the next closest, which is an unbelievable gap on this circuit with the grid this close. And, well, I mean, early in this season, Ivan Eskrig was the qualifying maestro. He was putting it on pole week after week. And then just the pendulum swung, didn't it? I think it was after that Qatar race that's really where things started to swing the way of Max van der Geest. And ever since then, he has been completely unflappable, absolutely a step above the other drivers. And, well, Ivan Eskrig, there's not much he can do today except hope, as Lars Kramer gets a lovely move done on Nico into turn number 10. Up to P6, and Viadec will be his next target. Kevin Zunderberg 1.7 seconds up the road, and with the DRS to Brian Amos that will put him even further up the road. But Lars Kramer here, he's got some very good pace today, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him catch up to Kevin again, who does get past that Williams. But I think Max van der Geest is now going to be a step too far for the Kick Sauber driver, who should finish this season in a very respectable P3 in the championship.
Yep, and here comes Lars Kramer. He's going to try and eye up another overtake, but he's not able to get it done at this time. IRTC, as you said, Ghost always likes that alternative strategy, and that's what he's going for again. He's 7 seconds clear with 9.5 laps remaining, and the Williams is in the lead, but he's probably not going to stay there, as Max van der Geest is chasing him down with some incredible pace. And then Kevin Zunderberg, Brian Amos, Zawada, Lars Kramer, Nico, Ivan Eskrig and Richard Vicker. Just picking up the point, as you said, it did not look like the two Red Bulls were working together when Ivan Eskrig did go through on Richard Vicker. It seemed like they were battling quite hard, actually. IRTC was into the pit lane, so Max van der Geest, he needed to finish P4 or above, and to be crowned world champion regardless of what Ivan Eskrig did. He's in the lead, he's 2.5 seconds clear, and there's 9 laps to go.
Absolutely, he is in a world of his own right now. Kevin Zunderberg 2.8 behind. That gap has come down. I'm not sure how much of that is due to the DRS that Zunderberg enjoyed on the last couple of laps. But the ERS is fairly similar between the two of them, so you'll never know. This might not be done between the two Mercedes, at least just yet. Brian Amos now in P3. He's got the penalty. He's still on 13-lap-old hard tyres as well, looking to go to the end on those. So he'll be hoping to keep Viadec and Lars Kramer behind. I think that's going to be a very tall order, though, with the much superior grip from the tyres of these cars, as Lars Kramer has sent one to the inside there of Zviadek. I was riding on board with the Haas, so I didn't notice the move until it was already he was already alongside, but he gets that done. It's another brilliant overtake from Lars Kramer as he looks to get himself into the podium places on track now. DRS to the Williams, but he's got no ERS left in the tank. Zviadek now coming back at him onto turn 1. Oh, he hits the back of him as well. I don't think any harm done, but Nico has taken the opportunity to send one on the inside of turn 1. Side by side through the center S's from the Aston Martin and the Haas. Nico trying his best to do everything he can to secure this Constructors, but at the moment he needs one of the Mercedes to crash out, but he has got himself to P5. That's a lovely opportunistic overtake from Nico, and Ivan Eskrig will be looking to do the same shortly.
Yeah, great stuff there. IRT Phil in towards turn 4 will make the move, and that is Ivan Eskrig. And Zwadek and Ivan Eskrig is up to P6, so the Haas is dropping down now. And Ivan Eskrig is up to P6. He's doing what he needs to do on his end. Nico in the Aston Martin just in front of him. And then Lars Kramer, that is a yellow flag. That is a Haas driver. That is IRT Phil. That is around. And he is back on track without any complications there. That is not what the Mercedes want to see. I think their heart would just sink a little bit at every yellow flag they see that waves at this stage in the race. IRT fell once again through on QRT Salmon. That is Lars Kramer and Brian Amos down in towards turn 1 at the centre S's. And Nico also going to try and go for a move. Brian Amos yet to pit. He's on the old tyres. And the drivers around him making the most of it. Here comes Nico down Retro in towards turn 4. Later on the brakes, through he goes. And nothing Brian Amos can do about that one.
Yeah, great stuff from Nico and Lars Kramer there. The Williams driver, just nothing he can do on these old tyres. He's got the penalty as well, so these guys will be wondering why he's fighting. But you never know, it might not be a legit penalty. May get it removed in stewards. You just cannot tell. So still 6.5 laps left to go as Ivan Eskrig sends one to the inside, makes contact with the Williams. That was a desperate lunge if I've ever seen one from the Championship Challenger, and I think that encapsulates his race today. He has to go for every move he can, and well, now he's going to have the DRS, but he's going to lose the train to Nico and Lars Kramer, and well, Ivan Eskrig, he's not even going to get past the Williams now. He's got no ERS left. Zviadek's got plenty left. He gets back past the Red Bull. Ivan brakes as late as he can to try and keep that position, but Zviadek, he does keep the position, excuse me, from Zviadek, but Zviadek really put the pressure on there, and Ivan Eskrig here, again, here comes Zviadek on the inside of turn 4. This time he gets it done with the better ERS. Zane on the inside of the other Red Bull and forces him off as well. Sieb on the inside of turn 5, all the way up the hill towards turn 6. Zane keeps it together, but Sieb is off. Sieb is off and into the wall. He's managed to survive. He hasn't DNF'd the car. That'll have been another heart and mouth moment for the Mercedes Giro, but Sieb, well, he went for the different strategy. He has much better tyres than the cars ahead, but that doesn't matter when you've got half a front wing.
Yeah, it's deja vu from last week. Sieb did the same thing. He stayed out late. He was really quick at the back end of the race, and then obviously involved in an incident. And the same thing this week once again. Very lucky to not be a safety car with just a couple of laps remaining. So Max van der Geest and Kevin Zonnenberg can relax again. Zwiadek on Brian Amos up the inside of turn 1. Here comes Ivan Eskrig. He is getting desperate. He doesn't see any way out of this. He needs a win. Sieb is out in the pit lane, and Ivan Eskrig is down to P7. He came and he tried, but with 4.5 laps remaining, he's not going to pull it off. He goes for that move on the inside of the Williams. They touch, and Ivan Eskrig is onto the grass, and he keeps hold of that Red Bull momentarily.
Oh, it's just not going Ivan Eskrig's way. He goes for it again into turn 7. It's a great move. There's a little bit of contact, but they still go side by side through the next corner as well. Ivan Eskrig does get around the outside into P6. Brian Amos now trying to defend from Zane as well. But Ivan up into 6th place. He does have DRS to Zviadek, but Nico is well up the road. And in fact, Lars Kramer could be in danger of losing the podium here. This pace from the Aston Martin of Nico has been unbelievable in this stint. He's got the DRS. He may not have anything left in the battery, but Lars Kramer's not doing too much better in that department. And Nico, despite having 2 laps older tyres, is looking incredible for pace right now next to this Kick Sauber, and the battle for 3rd place is far from over. Richard Vicker getting past Zane further back for P8. That was an opportunistic move from the Red Bull driver. Brian Amos will be next on his list, but Nico here has got some serious legs on that Aston Martin, and Lars Kramer is going to be looking nervously in his wing mirror. He would have wanted to finish this campaign with a podium, but Nico looking to take it off him at the very last moment. Just 3.5 laps left to go.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. It is brilliant to watch. We didn't get that safety car. It's a bit late in the day now to get anything out of this, so it is all on you, Max. Kevin Zunderberg in P2 and Lars Kramer, who's got to defend that podium here at the race finale here in Brazil. You've got Ivan Eskrig, the championship contender. I just want to take a minute to say Ivan's done an incredible job throughout the season, and there goes Richard Vicker, his teammate on Brian Amers, and the Williams driver demoted to P9. But Ivan Eskrig has done a tremendous job throughout the whole season, and to come away just short, he can pat himself on the back and say what an incredible campaign that he's had, but it just wasn't to be this time round. Max van der Geest 3.5 seconds clear now with 2.5 laps to go. Is it all over? We don't know just yet.
They think it's all over. It's not yet, though. It's still a little bit left for Max van der Geest, but he's nearly there. It's too late for a safety car now. He just has to bring the car home. He can afford to lose 10 seconds here and still win the championship. So all he has to do is avoid the walls and bring it all the way to the checkered flag, and he will be your PSF2 champion. QRT Sam, meanwhile, just behind Phil for P10, looking to snatch that final point away from the Haas. And, well, someone here is going to finish P11 out of 11 on track, which always is painful. But I think it's going to be IRT Phil with that penalty he's got. But further ahead, Nico is right behind Lars Kramer. He's got the DRS, but he's got nothing left in the battery. Lars Kramer's been saving the last couple of laps, so it's going to be very tough for Nico to snatch that podium away. Zviadek's just ahead of Ivan Eskrig as well, who'll be hoping to retrieve a little bit of dignity here with a top 5 finish. He can still leave this season with his head held high, like you said, Nathan, but Max van der Geest, just too much to handle in these last 5 weeks or so. And, well, 3.8 seconds. He's going to come around the final corner for the penultimate time to lead us on to the final lap of this race. Can we get any more overtakes for position here in this last lap? It's going to be Zviadek and Eskrig for P5, Nico and Kramer for P3. Lars Kramer is enough ahead of the Aston. 7/10 is too much for Nico to get back ahead of him into turn 1. The retained position, Sam is past Phil further back for that P10 on track. Ivan Eskrig not close enough to Zviadek over. I think we're just 1 minute away, Nathan, from crowning Max van der Geest the champion.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is it. Max van der Geest coming through turn 6, 7 and 8. Kevin Zunderberg 4 seconds behind. Then comes Lars Kramer, who will defend against Nico. Ivan Eskrig to take a bit of pride away here in Brazil. Will try that move on the Haas of Zviadek. Is he going to go for it? He does, and the Haas driver just covers off the inside line. And he says, nope, you're not doing that today. And the Red Bull driver has to settle back in behind. But around at turn 12 we go. Max van der Geest, the Flying Dutchman, will come down the home straight. They celebrate, they cheer, but it's Max the Great. Max van der Geest is your world champion here in PSF2 for PSGL.
What a season for Max van der Geest. Ivan Eskrig has lost out to his teammate. A big mistake on the final lap, so he's down to P7 in the end anyway. Kevin Zunderberg comes home for a Mercedes 1-2 to secure the Constructors as well for the Petronas outfit. Lars Kramer holds on to that podium position despite heavy pressure from Nico at the end. Zviadek comes home for P5, a strong result for him. Richard Vicker 6th, Ivan Eskrig, oh, he's got no front wing, that explains a lot. Down in P7. And well, he threw everything at this race. He went for a different strategy. He went to try everything he could. He went for some somewhat dubious moves at points as well, in desperation towards the end, but it was always going to take a mistake from Max van der Geest, and he is just completely unflappable out front. What a race, what a season for Max van der Geest. He has been absolutely incredible in this second half, and Ivan Eskrig just hasn't been able to keep up, despite a very, very strong start to the season. And, well, heartbreak for the Red Bull driver, heartbreak for Aston Martin as well. But it is the Mercedes and Max van der Geest's day. What a season and what a finale, Nathan.
I just need to take a breather there. That was brilliant to watch. It really was. It was a flawless display from the Mercedes. They felt like there was no nerves, no pressure, just nothing bothered him at all out on track this evening, and it showed. He's the world champion. Ivan Eskrig, commiserations. You have done a brilliant job throughout this whole campaign here at PSGL, and you should hold your head up high because you are a tremendous racing driver. You've just come up short here this evening, and it's just Max van der Geest's night.
Absolutely, yeah. What a performance that was from Max van der Geest, and from Kevin Zunneberg as well. You have to give credit to him.
Yeah.
But Ivan Eskrig, he did everything he could. He's had a fantastic season, and like you said, Nathan, he can have his head held high for this one, but just short of the title in the end. And well, that is that for PSGL PSF2. The F1 and F3 streams, I believe, are already underway, so feel free to give them some support as well. But before you go, just a word from our PSGL sponsors, Sim Racing Setups. They have setups for F1 25 and other F1 games and other racing games as well on their website. Do go and check them out and use the code PSGL at checkout for a 5% discount, and it supports the league as well. So thank you so much to everyone for watching all along this season. Thank you to all the guest commentators who filled in when me and Nathan have been away at points this season as well. And thank you to Nathan for streaming tonight to save my technical issues that I've been plagued with in the last few weeks for some reason. So, someone's out to get me.
My pleasure.
And of course, thank you to all our drivers and to the PSGL admins for making this all happen. And last of all, but absolutely not least, thank you to Nathan for joining me in the commentary box and being my fantastic co-commentator this season. It has been a pleasure to be in the box with you all season long, and well, here's to next season. I think you have a promising commentary career ahead, my friend. So thank you.
And you, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, Ghost, to be alongside you throughout the season. It is genuinely incredible. The commentary is incredible. The driving. And it really just works. It clicks, and I'm picking up a lot as well from yourself, who's just brilliant to listen to. So thank you for an incredible first season here in PSGL.
Thank you so much, and I can confirm, by the way, that I was assuming that the person who said Ivan was forgot to lose his race set was just joking because it looked like he had such high downforce. No, he has confirmed in chat, Ivan, the man himself, he did accidentally won the race with his qualifying setup. So that is a shame, but you know,
it's a shame.
These things happen. That is racing at the end of the day, and I always like to compare these things to sort of equivalent things that can happen in the real sport. So, you know, these things happen in Formula One, and well, he gave it his all, Ivan Eskrig. You can see he didn't leave anything to spare out on track. But in the end, Max van der Geest, too strong for, well, not just Ivan, for everyone today and this season. Many congratulations to him and to Kevin Zunneberg as well on securing both championships. And that is going to be that for this season. So I expect there'll be a couple of weeks break. I'm not sure exactly when PSGL will be back, but I'm sure it will be soon enough. So thank you all so much. Have a lovely break, and thank you to you, Nathan, again. And from me, it is goodbye.
And from me, it is goodbye. Have a great break, everybody.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful time and a wonderful rest of your week as well. And see you later. Goodbye.